Hello there, you're watching our television. This is State of Business. I'm Pomada Karukampala. Let's have a look at the headlines. Government plans to make Sri Lanka the region's sea and air hub. USD analyzes Sri Lanka's rice production. Welcome back. Now let's have a detailed look at today's stories. Now, President Ranil Wickremesinghe recently emphasized the importance of a strong export-oriented economy and upgrade the private sector to spearhead the economic growth of the country. The President made these statements while addressing the Business Today Top 40 Award ceremony at the Presidential Secretariat in Colombo.
We have to ensure that we are a dynamic economy, that we are an export-oriented economy. And the major areas would be our decision to enter into the comprehensive economic and technological partnership with India, but also to negotiate to enter the RCEP. So we have to come to the RCEP standard. We can't be lower than that. We have to open up. And after RCEP, we should go for the CPTPP, the Comprehensive Progressive Trans-Pacific Partnership. So that means already we are setting the criteria. You have to act according to that. We can't be changing it. How are you going to contribute? Once we open up the economy, we are leaving the growth to private sector. The burden is fully on yours. I have shifted it out. It's no longer. I certainly won't have to say the government is responsible. You all are going to be responsible. So you have to tell us what you are going to do. We'll be talking to all of you. But the country will look at you. If you want the private sector to be the engines of growth, then come up with a plan and perform the job.
Meanwhile, President Ranil Wickremesinghe said giving emphasis to the development of the Makran region as a whole is key in assessing the country's course to becoming the region's sea and air hub. The President revealed government's plan while addressing the 30-year development plan of the Colombo North Port Workshop in Colombo recently.
Our intention is to make Sri Lanka an air-sea hub. Sri Lanka has to think of the future. What we will do in the next 25 years. How are we going ahead to make this a developed country? We have to look at the developments in India, in Bangladesh, in Iran, the total Makran coast, in assessing the role that Sri Lanka has to play as a hub. That is important. We have to think now of what the development should be. The SLPA and the consultants have given us a report on the feasibility of the North Port. We have to remember one thing only, that what is going to take place in India, what's the development in Pakistan, and what's the development going to be in Iran. Those three will decide the capacity. By 2050, India will be the most populous country in the world. From 1.4 billion, it will be up to 1.7 billion people. The industrialization of India is going fast, especially in some areas. You find Gujarat, Maharashtra, and other one in the southern India, especially in Tamil Nadu.
Now, Sri Lanka's inflation in March has dropped below 50% for the first time since July 2022, according to the Department of Census and Statistics. This information was depicted in the monthly National Consumer Price Index report for the month of March, published on the 21st of April. As per the NCPI, the overall rate of inflation year-on-year for March 2023 was 49.2%, which is a 4.4% drop from the 53.6% reported for the month of February. The monthly prices, which provide more credible information if the prices are in fact declining, decelerated to 0.3% in March from a 1.1% increase in February. The index data showed that the food prices are coming down faster than the non-food due to the relative stiffness in inflation in the services. However, inflation barring the often volatile items such as food, energy and transport rose by 44.2% year-on-year in March, substantially down from 50.1% year-on-year in February. The core inflation is widely used to measure prices to gauge the pace of underlying prices in the economy and thus is often used for policy making such as to determine the interest rates in the economy. Easing financial conditions are expected to further accelerate the declining path of inflation as the firms could again start borrowing to ramp up their production. Meanwhile, the national food inflation eased in March to 42.3% year-on-year, while the prices measured monthly continued to decline by 2.1% for the second consecutive month. The non-food inflation rose by 54.9%, while the monthly prices rose by 2.3% compared to 3.7% a month ago. The reduction in the fuel prices had a positive impact, while the increase in the electricity tariff partly offset that during last month. Stay tuned for more stories after this short commercial break. Welcome back, you're watching State of Business. Now, the United States Department of Agriculture says that Sri Lanka is on track to reach pre-fertilizer ban levels of production by next year. The information was brought to light by a report published by the Foreign Agricultural Service Department of the USDA. The USDA predicted Sri Lanka's paddy harvest for the year 2024 to increase by 23% to 4.65 million metric tons from the estimated 3.77 million metric tons last year. Accordingly, milled rice production is projected to reach 3.16 million metric tons in the upcoming year, to be derived from a planted area of 1 million hectares with yields of 4.26 metric tons per hectare. During the current market year ending October 2023, milled rice production is forecasted to reach a partial recovery with a 47% increase in output. This is due to the incomplete or partial application of the full basket of fertilizers required for the rice crop to thrive. The USDA noted the TSP fertilizer that landed in Sri Lanka in March 2023 is now available for application during the upcoming Yala 2023 season. Consequently, rice imports are projected to decline to 25,000 metric tons in the next market year from the estimated 150,000 metric tons in the current market year and from a record high 820,000 metric tons reported last year. The USDA pointed out that the high production costs continue to be a challenge for the rice farmers. Meanwhile, rice consumption is predicted to rise by 7% year-on-year to 3.1 million metric tons in the upcoming market year from the estimated 2.9 million metric tons in the current market year. The USDA noted that on a per capita consumption basis, rice consumption is down about 102 kilograms per annum. Now, the United States District Court, Southern District of New York, last week ordered the Sri Lankan government and its sovereign bondholder Hamilton Reserve Bank to submit a joint status letter by 12 May 2023. The decision by U.S. District Judge Dennis Court follows a conference held involving the two parties on 20th April. The Sri Lankan government in early April, in its answers to Hamilton Reserve Bank's amended complaint, denied almost all the allegations. The government said the plaintiff Hamilton Reserve Bank's claim is barred in whole or in part by reason of Sri Lanka's sovereign immunity. Furthermore, the government claimed the plaintiff's claim is barred in whole or in part because plaintiff lacks standing to sue. Also, it was claimed that plaintiff's claim is barred in whole or in part and or should be stayed on the grounds of international committee. Therefore, Sri Lankan government respectfully requested the US court to dismiss Hamilton Reserve Bank's amended complaint. Hamilton Reserve Bank owns over $250 million in principal amount of the $1 billion worth international sovereign bonds issued in 2012. The bonds matured on the 25th of July 2022. Hamilton alleged that as a result of Sri Lanka's default, it is owed $250.19 million in principal and $7.349 million in accrued interest before accounting for pre- and post-judgment interest. Hamilton Reserve Bank initiated this action on the 21st of June 2022, after which, on the 21st September, Sri Lanka filed a motion to dismiss the complaint. Sri Lanka in mid-April announced a moratorium on foreign debt repayments, including the bonds, and since then has made no payments on the bonds. Meanwhile, the Public Utilities Commission Chairman Janaka Ratnayake charts that the government is planning to remove the lubricant levy, the key revenue source of the regulatory body. He said in a statement that the government is doing so with the intention of paralysing the regulatory body. The PUCSL chairman said the Ministry of Power and Energy has proposed to remove the lubricant levy from the PUCSL without providing a proper justification. The PUCSL has been regulating the lubricant market for 17 years from 2006. The lubricant market volume of Sri Lanka is approximately 70,000 kilolitre. There are 26 licensed players in the market with 4 blenders and 22 finished product importers. In the statement, Ratnayake says increasingly grey market and the increased duty difference between blenders that the lubricant market of Sri Lanka faces. The chairman emphasised that removing the levy from the regulator could potentially put the safety and well-being of the consumers at risk. He said that it is important to ensure that regulators have the necessary funding and resources to carry out their functions effectively. He condemned the move by saying that it will severely damage the market as well as send a wrong message to the international community. According to him, PUCSL was able to publish a gazette making adulteration and illegal imports by the Consumer Affairs Authority Act to address the absence of legal provisions to raid or arrest product adulterators and illegal importers within the Petroleum Act. Further, it is also in the process of developing an MOU of execution to provide the required facilities to encourage raiding for CAA and also bear the disposal cost of confiscated lubricant and greases to encourage raids in the adulterated markets. PUCSL also has taken steps to offer NVQ3 qualification for 6,000 lubricant technicians to produce technically qualified personnel in the lubricant market in order to uplift the industry safety and technical standards. Stay tuned, we'll be right back with the stock update. Welcome back, you're watching State of Business and now the stock update. Trading at Colombo Stock Exchange ended on negative notes today. The OSHA price index dropped 73.12 points to close at 9,187.29 and the S&P 20 dropped 27.35 points to close at 2,683.75. The turnover was 0.6 billion rupees and over 51 million shares were traded. Coming up next are Forex rates. And with that, we wind up for today. For this and more, subscribe to our channel on YouTube and follow us on Facebook. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
State of Business was sponsored by
IWS Aviation.